Real quick guys, if you guys wouldn't mind, please be sure to consider going down your item shop and typing in BAY for your supported creator code, BEY, and then clicking accept. This will support me greatly and it will not cost you anything, so please be sure to do this, and let's get right into the video. Also, one final thing guys, all the gameplay in this video was recorded live at twitch.tv/beyondfps. It was streamed there. I play tons of games every single day. I'm probably streaming when this video is live. If I'm not, be sure to go and drop a follow because I will be streaming very consistently, and I just hit 1,100 followers. Please be sure to go and join my Twitch fanbase over there. Also guys, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. I make tons of tips and tricks videos to help you guys out, and if they do, please subscribe. It'll help me out a ton, and a lot of the people that are watching these videos are not subscribed, so please be sure to do this right now. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. One important thing I wanted to mention guys is that you might have noticed a large break in uploads recently on my channel. I haven't had one of these in almost a year, and unfortunately due to some reasons that I could not control, I had to do this. If you guys want more info on what happened, please be sure to check out my last community post. I explained everything there, and there is some good news coming soon, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But until I'm able to, please be sure to enjoy this video and subscribe to my channel for more. One really interesting aspect of my gameplay ever since I've started playing video games that were competitive is that I've always been a very aggressive player. Back in the day when I was a pro in Halo 5, I used to play and I used to rank top 10 in the world in free-for-all and top 100 in 4v4 Slayer, and I was always a very good competitive player. Same in Fortnite. I'm very aggressive and I have a very good edge when I play the game for a while, and I'm able to sharpen my skills and kind of get used to everything that you need to be good at in Fortnite. And basically, what I've learned and what I've seen from a lot of pros and just from pro gameplay in general in esports is that the more aggressive your playstyle is, the better you will be overall. The reason for this is actually a lot of reasons. First and foremost, being aggressive makes it so that you're constantly pushing people and you're constantly practicing and pushing yourself to these limits and putting yourself in these weird situations where you'll basically learn to adapt and get used to playing in ways that you're not comfortable. And the more you expose yourself to things that you're not comfortable in, you basically get better at them and you get more used to them. This is something known as exposure therapy, and it's something that they actually use in science and in medicine. So by playing more aggressive, you're actually making yourself a much better player, and you're improving your gameplay or your skills in something a lot. And whether this is just getting better at being calm in certain situations, or actually improving your mechanics and other things that you'll need to be good at when playing games, it does work very well. And if you watch some of the best Fortnite players in the world right now and consider the Fortnite meta, which is basically placements, you'll see that almost all of them, the ones that at least place well, always W key their first games in cups, in tournaments, and in events. The reason for this is because that first game is the one where it's not too crazy yet, and they're not playing the best opponents. But even if they were, they still have the mindset for every single fight that they can win no matter what. And you guys can notice this if you basically watch pros play. You'll notice that even if they're playing against some of the best players in the world, they'll still fight them like they're trash. Like, they will push them, they'll W key them, they'll jump in their box, they'll be aggressive, and they won't necessarily be backing down from fights unless they absolutely have to. And this mindset of being super confident and aggressive is what makes pro players as good as they seem to be. It's because of the fact that they're so good at pushing themselves to these limits and always putting other players in bad situations. Now, doing this a lot of times basically makes you very, very good at being aggressive. So basically what I did was I W keyed exactly 100 players, and I counted this, and after doing this I made this little video to kind of tell you guys my experience and my change in gameplay after I did this. So basically, one of the first few things I noticed was that after W keying 100 players, I became a lot more confident. Sure, I may have lost a lot of arena points, or I may have actually ended up losing a lot of games in the early game in the beginning, but what I noticed was that by the end of like the last, I'd say 60, after 40 games, the last 60 games, I was much more confident, and I was able to actually survive much longer when W keying. I was able to make it to the end games and do better. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to one thing, and I don't want you guys to mix this up or anything. I didn't play 100 games where I W keyed. I W keyed 100 people, and I did this by basically hitting a tally marker on my phone, and by the end of every game, I just count the amount of kills I got, and basically in those games, I'd force myself to W key them. So even if I had no health and I was at like like 1 health and this player was just absolutely rushing me, I wouldn't back down and run away and try to heal up. I just try to make edit plays, get high ground, push up and fight them, almost how you guys would in a 1v1. And this is something really cool that I want to tell you guys about, is that you guys have probably realized that a lot of times when you're in 1v1s, you play a lot better than you do in arena or in actual pubs. The reason for this is because when you're playing in creative, you know that you have maximum materials, you know that if you die, nothing happens and you just go ahead and you respawn and start all over again, and there's no real risk in losing. So there's no stress or anything on you to make you not want to W key. But another thing about creative is that in creative, a lot of times you'll notice you'll actually be playing better. You'll be building better, you'll be editing better, you won't choke, and you might feel like this doesn't happen in game a lot and quite often. And I'm telling you guys right now, the reason for this is because of your confidence and because of the lack of time that you guys spend pushing people in actual games. Don't worry about your stats, guys. It's not a thing that's really popular anymore in games. I remember back in like season 5, 6, stats were important and a lot of players were super psyched out about, KDs and stuff like that. But no one really cares about that anymore. It's all about placements and it's all about your gameplay and how good you actually are. And if you're a player who's constantly W-keying people like I did for this video, what you'll notice is significant improvements in your gameplay in many different aspects. Now up to now, I've only talked about some core changes and some things that most of you may have noticed, but now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I personally noticed that may not be able for you guys to relate to, but these are things that if you guys kind of understand, they might make a significant difference in the way you think about the game, and they also might encourage you guys to W-key more people to learn how to play like this. So something that I feel like is important to understand is that in competitive, you shouldn't be W-keying people a lot. Honestly, I wouldn't even be W-keying people 9 out of 10 games. I'd only be W-keying them for only 1 game, and that's the throwaway game that you can risk. And that's generally your first game where you want to be able to kind of get that high risk, high reward game where if you get that W key and you'll be ahead of everyone else, and that's probably going to be your best chance of getting it in events because the fact that those are lower elo lobbies. But the thing is that for competitive, you don't want to be W keying everyone. The only reason that I'm telling you guys right now to W key is to do it in arena. Arena has absolutely no losses in it, and it's okay if you don't have a crazy amount of points. You're not a content creator most likely that's trying to make those 40,000 50,000 point videos. You're just a player that's trying to improve, get better at the game, and overall have better chances at getting earnings, being able to place, and just having more skill in general. And the best way to do so is by being aggressive and W-keying as much as you can. This is something that I feel like is very important for you guys to understand before I get into the next part, which is going to be kind of like the more weird things that I learned after W-keying so many people. So the first thing that I learned was that a lot of people, when you W-key them, will actually kind of expect it if you're playing a very normal way. Some of the best tricks and some of the most interesting things that I found to work was using a lot of tricks that I saw Martaz use, and these are weird things such as editing a cone by tapping it on the side and then tapping it on the inside again, or simply by just doing misdirection type moves like that one where you throw opponents off by basically doing something that makes them think you're going to do one thing and then doing the exact opposite. Misdirection worked the best in W-keying. It wasn't all about jumping in their box and just landing as many shots as possible. It was more about tricking them, getting behind them, or just making them hesitate for just a second, and in that second I would land most of my shots and get a huge advantage in the fight. And when it comes to outplaying people, it's very interesting to see people make this mistake because a lot of times people feel like as soon as they get an advantage, they should just rush in and try to get as much damage as possible, and this is not the case, guys. W-keying is all about piece control, all about making smart moves, and all about being the more cool, composed, and intelligent player in the fight. If you're not getting stressed out and nervous because of something that just happened, and if you're not freaking out and trying to basically rush and get the kill, you will be the player who performs better in that fight because of the fact that you're the one that's making better decisions, and the other player is the one that's freaking out and basically falling for your tricks that you're going to be doing. Now, some of the tricks that you can play is basically making quick edits and resetting them, doing edits that are very, very tricky to understand, such as the one where you edit a ramp by editing from the right side on the bottom, moving to the top, moving to the left, and then moving back down on the left side. When you do this edit and you move all the way down and then you reset it, you fall on the side, but there's a little hole on one side of it, and it basically looks like what you're doing is you're just going to drop down from that hole. And basically doing moves like this to misdirect people works very well. And as you guys can see in this fight, This I kept in on purpose. You guys will see that I basically pushed this guy when I was very low on health, and I was able to beat him when I honestly shouldn't have. And that is the perfect example of being aggressive in a very smart way where they won't expect it. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.